Mike in the Woods here. This last September, I went on the first of hopefully a future great many skatepacking trips. It was the first of a series of kind of escalating trips so I can build up confidence and do longer and more crazier trips. Now, when you take an already complex backpacking adventure and add the complexities of an electric skateboard to the mix, there was a lot of room for improvements and things to be learned. And after even just my first single overnighter, there was a few things that I figured out that could be improved for future trips. So here's the 5 lessons that I learned so that you might hopefully benefit from my mistakes. Number 5, too much weight. Much like I talked about in my 10 ways to increase range video, linked up at the top of the screen if you're interested, both my pack and myself need to be lighter. On my September skatepacking trip, my pack was way too heavy, 40 pounds, but that did include all of my filming gear and my shoulder season sleeping bag though, and with my summer bag and a lot of other optimizations, I'm fairly confident I can get my bag down to about 30 pounds, including water weight and, of course, my filming gear. As for me, I'm trying to get out and exercise regularly to shed some pounds. At the time I'm doing this video, I'm 250 pounds. If I drop to 200, that plus the pack weight improvements should lead to me not only being able to eke out more range on my eskate batteries, but also just plain old be fit for sections of the trip where I have to hand carry my board, such as if I run out of juice before a charging stop or for off-road sections. Number 4, my feet and legs were killing me. You wouldn't think you'd get hit so hard standing on a skateboard all day, letting it do all the work instead of you, but after the trip to the campsite, my lower legs and feet were absolutely wrecked. I think a combination of the curve of the deck and vibrations and shock from impacts with the road and debris, and the flexing of my foot and calf muscles to maintain balance and control of the board really kicked in more than I thought it would. Getting conditioned to riding my electric skateboard for hours on end, for days on end, will likely be a good idea before starting a trip. Having some cushioned and supportive insoles will help as well, and stretching at the end of the day, much like regular hiking, is an absolute must. I can't really wear my normal trail runners on a skatepacking trip as the grip tape will eat the treads very quickly, so I definitely need to get a good set of shoes specifically dedicated to skatepacking. Number 3, going slower. As I've mentioned in some of my other videos, on a skatepacking trip there's not really any need to go fast, so unless you're trying to cover a lot of distance in a day, or you need to get to like a motel or a campsite before the sign-in cutoff, there's no point in going super fast. I mean, I wasn't going that fast, only on gear 2 on my board, but I think I can even drop down to the first gear and still have plenty of speed. This will benefit me in 2 ways. I'll get more range out of my battery as it's more efficient at slower speeds, and I'll be able to take in the sights more. It will also be slightly safer, especially when taking corners and on paths where there's lots of pedestrians. Most importantly, it will give me more opportunities to film cool stuff on the trip to bring you guys the best possible skatepacking trip videos I can. It's hard to focus on filming and riding. Number 2, shorter, more frequent charging stops. Although my trip to and from the campsite I did on my first overnighter didn't require charging stopovers along the way, it was something I discussed with someone in the eskate community after the fact that fast chargers charge quicker near empty than they do near full. So for segments of the trip where charging opportunities are often, I can cut down on my overall charging time throughout the day by having shorter, more frequent charging stops. 45 minutes to an hour spent charging on my batteries, stop for a drink, get some food, maybe read a book or watch some YouTube on my tablet while things charge, then bugger off again. This way, I'm not stationary for 3 hours at a time while my board fills up from empty to full, and I could still decide to do a full charge overnight or whenever else I figure I need to. When I first started looking into the idea of backpacking on my electric skateboard, I was worried that charging opportunities would be a lot rarer than they actually seem to be. If you look hard enough, there are plenty of places to charge up. And number 1, I think I need less food and water on riding only sections of trips. Something that had occurred to me was that since the board was doing all of the work and I wasn't exerting myself nearly as much as a normal hike would, I don't need nearly as much water or even food for that matter for riding only sections of the trip. So I could temporarily lighten my load that way on sections where I'll be riding constantly, meaning there's no off-road sections where I have to carry my board. Plus, I cover a lot of ground very quickly on the eskate, so I am able to get to a water source to replenish my water supply very quickly should the need arise, whether store-bought or from a stream or a lake or something. So there you have it, nothing crazy, but important things that I learned nonetheless. Hopefully this will be useful to you if you're planning on incorporating an electric rideable like an eskate, an electric scooter, electric bicycle, or EUC into a backpacking trip. I have a feeling this is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of my learning curve. It's definitely a whole different ballgame from traditional backpacking. I'll be sure to keep you updated as I go. Check out the links in the description for my complete playlist of other skatepacking stuff I've done. If you're new to the channel, I combine fun futuristic technology with traditional outdoors experiences, like mashing up electric skateboards with backpacking, so check out my other videos and consider subscribing if that's your thing. Also, as a last note, I've redone my Patreon tiers, so check that out, it might be of value to you. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next video.